Hello and welcome to Technology Update. On today's show, we check out some of the highlights of the tech calendar. We learn about a promising new biological cancer treatment. And I stumble around a car park. But first, it's no secret that despite efforts to promote recycling, disposal of waste is still a problem. And I wouldn't exactly shock you if I said that demand for green energy were high. But what might surprise you is that there's a way of killing two birds with one stone.
Second wind.
The average Russian family annually produces about 400 kilos of household waste a year, adding up to 70 million tons nationally. In a country with no shortage of space, burying rubbish is the easiest and cheapest way of disposing of it. And 90% of it is buried in the country's 10,000 landfill sites. Not only do landfills create an eyesore, but it's the things you can't see that we should be worried about. As waste decomposes, tons of greenhouse gases are released into the atmosphere. The Institute for Electrophysics and Electric Power is headed by Filip Rudberg. He was awarded the USSR State Prize of the Russian Federation, and others that would take too long to list for his work in the field of electrophysics and low-temperature plasma. And for well over 20 years, he's been working on a revolutionary waste disposal system. Not only does it cleanly and safely destroy the most common types of rubbish, it actually generates green energy from it. The installation uses plasma gasification technology to break down organic matter into synthesis gas, a combination of hydrogen and carbon monoxide, which can be used to generate heat, electricity, or further processed to produce liquid fuel. Although it's not likely to replace nuclear power, oil or gas anytime soon, the Green Machine has found its niche.
Back in 1990, we stopped researching the fundamental issues of physics and began thinking of possible new applications. And since we dealt with plasma, which, thanks to its properties, is capable of breaking down any substance into atoms, thus opening up the possibility to further rearrange them, we decided that the most promising application would be to develop ways of treating highly toxic waste, such as polychloride biphenyls, binary gases, medical waste, and so on, all with the purpose of neutralizing them.
Plasma is the so-called fourth state of matter. It forms when air or gas is ionized, which basically means it consists of equal numbers of positively and negatively charged ions. And to produce it, you'll need a plasma torch. The space-age device comprises several electrodes through which a high-voltage, strong electric current passes, forming an arc. Highly pressurized gas, which can be anything from argon, helium, hydrogen, to the air we breathe, then shoots through the arc, throwing out plasma of up to tens of thousands of degrees. But all that aside, it also looks pretty cool. By boosting the voltage and lowering the current, the Institute has extended their torch lifespan to well over 1,000 hours, while projecting the 250 centimeter arcs outside the nozzle increases heat transfer to whatever's in the chamber. The best fuels for the plasma waste processor are these wood chips and sawdust briquettes from the logging industry. But it also works pretty well with household waste, which has to be dried and shredded first to boost the efficiency of the process. Each kilogram of waste can produce up to 1.5 kilowatt hours of electric power. So that means I'm carrying about 22 kilowatt hours, which is enough to fuel the average household for a day. There are other ways of producing power from waste, such as biodecomposition, which uses heat or bacteria to produce gas, but they're nowhere near as effective. However, before we can produce any clean energy from this waste, we must first blast it with 10,000 degrees C hot plasma. So let's fire it up. So, what's the secret behind destroying waste without producing harmful emissions?
It's best to ensure that no dioxides are produced at all. They disintegrate completely at temperatures above 1200 degrees. So if you cool the gas down quickly, well, it doesn't even have to be that fast. Or if you burn it off, they won't form in the first place. And that's very important. The entire process is environment friendly.
To kick the process off, the dried household waste is loaded into the lock chamber before falling through in batches to the transfer bin and finally the reactor chamber. 3 plasma torches ensure the waste is evenly heated, melted, and ultimately vaporized, where the molecular bonds between atoms are destroyed, breaking them down into their component elements. Any slag produced is siphoned off at the bottom, and the amount of oxygen is carefully controlled, and the synthesis gas produced at the other end is quickly cooled to prevent CO2 from forming.
We've achieved some good results while researching the physics of the process. We made some discoveries. Some of them are now included in school textbooks and published in scientific journals. Also, we developed a new kind of plasma torch, the AC plasma torch, which I've already mentioned. It's interesting that basically we're the only ones working with alternating current, although Westinghouse and others did research it too. But we seem to have cracked it.
The challenges of creating powerful plasma torches that work on alternating currents were by far outweighed by their advantages over direct current. AC torches are not only significantly cheaper, not requiring complex power conversion blocks, but also highly energy efficient and can generate multiple arcs, with the institutes managing to convert up to 95% of the heat from the electrical input to the gas. So as it turns out, one man's waste really is another man's treasure. October in Moscow means one thing in the TechUp calendar, the Open Innovations Forum, which is the top summit for technology, investment and entrepreneurship in Russia. So naturally the team and I had to head down.
Focal point.
Open Innovations is the place to be if you want to showcase your tech. The forum was held in the middle of October at the recently completed Technopolis Moskva. Located on the territory of the old Moskvich car factory, it's the capital's latest venue dedicated to nurturing innovation. This year was the 3rd time it was held, and over 2,000 tech giants, startups and entrepreneurs from 70 countries flocked to the event. In the spirit of open innovations, many of the forum's 15,000 visitors, including one TechUp presenter, were greeted by robotic assistants helping us find our way around the venue's 13,000 square meters of exhibits. As the official partner of the forum, this year saw a large Chinese contingent, with 18 companies, both well-known and not, coming over to show 40 of their latest creations, which range from nano, atomic power and space tech, to mobile phones, LEDs, IT and high-speed trains.
It's fantastic that China really wants to cooperate with Russia, and not just on a verbal basis. They're looking for particular technologies, for particular business opportunities. They are seriously looking for ways to cooperate and projects to take part in.
As always, transport was a hit among the visitors, with Bravo Ego displaying the latest model of its folding e-vehicle and Lada with its X-Ray Concept 2. But for those who prefer a more personal mode of transport, there was Russia's latest gyrocycle by Staros. The 20-kilo device can travel 20k at 20 kilometers an hour on just one charge. And anyone who prefers something a bit less personal could go for the self-balancing remote presence robot by Rostelecom. Designed, among other things, to help managers keep an eye on their staff, I'm not sure I could imagine one of these roaming around our office. Wanting a souvenir from the forum, I visited the Leninkraft stand from the Petersburg Polytechnic University. The technology uses off-the-shelf digital cameras to create precise 3D models, which can then be printed out on a 3D printer. The company has big plans to scan exhibits from around the world and create a virtual museum, although I'm not sure that this one would make the cut. At Open Innovations, it's never too long until you bump into past stars of the show. Here we saw the latest version of the Exo Athlete, which we covered last year. The powered medical exoskeleton is designed to help patients get back on their feet. We filmed IDOS and their state-of-the-art surgery simulators 2 years ago, but tech in Tatarstan never stands still, and the firm has shifted their focus to the car industry. This laser measuring and milling device that automatically restores and strengthens the dies used to stamp car parts. The event is also the perfect place to meet future stars of the show. Orient's co-founder and developer Konstantin was busy promoting his company's device, which helps blind people navigate independently and safely about town. The specs use cameras to sense depth and warn users of obstacles using audio signals. Stay tuned to find out more about Orient at the end of the show. Innovation for innovation's sake is rarely enough these days. You need to turn it into a business. Startup is a buzzword that's bandied around quite a lot at the moment, and it was only a matter of time until it reached Open Innovations. This year, the event became host to Generation S, the country's first major startup competition. Organised by Russian venture company and the Innovation Development Center of Moscow, the competition was a massive hit.
These are not just ideas. These are serious startup projects that have come up with prototypes. They already have a product. Some are already making money. And their goal is to develop a serious product. Over 2,000 startup projects entered the competition for the finals, so it is now indeed a major nationwide event with strict selection criteria.
The 2,000 startups were whittled down to just 25, who had to then present their projects to an intimidatingly large jury of 100 Russian and foreign investors. They were marked on 7 criteria: the team, importance of the problem and solution, market demand, competitive advantages, scalability, and potential capitalization in the next 3 to 5 years. The points were then totted up to give the winners of the considerable prize fund in the categories Clean Tech, Biotech Med, Industrial, and IT.
Today at the Open Innovations Forum, we saw presentations from 25 finalists. They're just about to finish pitching their projects, and the investors will have to select 4 winners. The prize pool for the Generation S winners is 41 million rubles, most of it in cash. The awards have been provided by the organizers and partners of the competition.
The competition also showed that innovation doesn't always have to be glamorous. The winners were Promobot, a customer service robot, Keratech, a technology for extracting high-protein feed supplements from the poultry industry, Nanoserve, which uses biological treatments to clean heating systems, and online store logistics optimization software vRoute. This year's Open Innovations was the most successful yet, and with the addition of the Generation S startup competition, next year's event promises to be bigger and better than ever. That's just the end of the first half, so don't go anywhere. We'll see you after this short break.
Does the media lead us or we lead the media? Privacy versus security. All right, your party, where's it going? The questions that no one is asking with the guests that you deserve answers from. It's all on Politicking, only on RT.
Right from the scene. First-rate news and eye-gripping pictures. On our reporters' Twitter and Instagram. To be in the know, follow us online.
I'm Marinade. Join me on Boom Bust for in-depth, impartial, and en vogue financial reporting, commentary, interviews, and much, much more. Only on Boom Bust and only on RT.
Crosstalk rules in effect. That means you can jump in anytime you want.
Welcome back. Let's continue with the rest of the show. Estimates suggest that 1 in 3 people at some point in their lives will be affected by cancer, making it one of the world's most pressing medical issues. And a promising new way of treating it may lie not in chemistry, but in biology.
What's up in the lab?
The National Industria Award was created to be the Oscar of Russian industry. So there were few more fitting people to present it than Russian Prime Minister Dmitry Medvedev. The ceremony was held for the first time at this year's Innosprom exhibition in Yekaterinburg, and the first ever winner of the award was St. Petersburg biopharmaceutical company Biocad. Biocad's innovative approach to developing and manufacturing a range of medicines made it stand out from the crowd. The company was given the Industria Award for its pioneering project MabNext, a revolutionary treatment based on monoclonal antibodies, which are similar to the ones in our bloodstream that target infections. By modifying them to target the unique cell proteins associated with specific conditions, including cancers, autoimmune diseases, the scientists at Biocad can create highly targeted treatments with minimal side effects.
As of today, our company's portfolio includes treatment formulas based on the newest targets, and we're also working actively on autoimmune diseases. These include conditions such as rheumatoid arthritis, asthma, psoriasis, atopic arthritis, and multiple sclerosis, which are all very difficult to treat. We're looking into the future, trying to determine what types of treatment, what molecules the doctors will need in order to help patients effectively.
Biocad's headquarters are located at the Neudorf Special Economic Zone in St. Petersburg. Set up in 2001, Biocad started off producing generic drugs, in doing so reducing Russia's dependence on more expensive imports and making treatment more affordable for patients with cancer, autoimmune diseases and other serious conditions. Just 4 years later, the firm had already developed and released its own medicine, Genferon. A decade on, it's still used to treat respiratory viral infections. But the company has come on in leaps and bounds since then and is now one of Russia's top 3 pharmaceutical businesses. Biocad currently has 15 innovative drugs in different stages of development and 1 already in clinical trials. In 2014, the Russian Ministry of Health approved Russia's first biosimilar monoclonal antibody, Acelbia, the main ingredient of which is rituximab. For over 10 years, rituximab has proven to be highly effective against lymphomas and leukemias. Non-Hodgkin lymphoma is one of the 10 most common forms of cancer in the world, with over 20,000 new cases in Russia every year. But producing biosimilar medicines is far more complex than generic drugs.
Our company has a whole bioinformatics department, which, as far as I know, is unique among Russian companies. Around a dozen specialists are working on in silico modeling of recombinant protein structures. Their work is highly important in the process of developing innovative monoclonal antibody treatments. In silico modeling enables us to predict a molecule's properties, as well as its stability and functionality. This certainly increases the likelihood of creating the most efficient drug and decreases the risk of making mistakes and consequently shortens the drug development cycle.
Manufacturing biosimilar medicines is just the start for Biocad. One of their most promising new developments is an antibody against interleukin-17. The unique antibody actively targets cytokine, the production of which is closely associated with many autoimmune diseases. Once approved, anti-interleukin-17 will be used to treat psoriasis, rheumatoid arthritis, multiple sclerosis and many more.
This medicine does not only relieve symptoms of an inflammatory autoimmune disease, but also fights the cause of it and blocks the disease's development at the earliest stage. So, patients who take these kinds of medicines will also use treatments against interleukin-17, and we expect patients to demonstrate a very fast relief of symptoms, a very long remission, and very good control over the disease.
All the company's biopharmaceuticals are made at their super modern, super sterile production facility, also at the Neudorf Economic Zone. And believe it or not, but Chinese hamster ovary cells make the ideal vehicle for producing monoclonal antibodies, thanks to their high productivity, robustness, and safety record. Using a method called transfection, DNA molecules are added to the cell, causing it to produce the exact protein required to target a specific disorder. To start off, the 1 milliliter frozen cell vial is bred up to make a 2 liter cell culture. The cells, complete with nutrient solution, are then transferred to a wave bioreactor. The pH of the solution is carefully controlled by pumping a mixture of air and CO2 into the single-use sterile sac. The quantity and health of the cells is monitored under a microscope using an automated counter which registers the viability of the cells. After a couple of days in the wave bioreactor, the solution is transferred to a 250 litre and ultimately 1,000 litre steel bioreactor, again using specially designed single-use sacs. A bevy of sensors and tubes monitor and regulate the temperature, circulation speed, pH and oxygen to provide the perfect conditions for cell growth. After 10 days in the final bioreactor, the protein concentration of the mixture reaches the required level, and after purification, the batch is then poured back into vials and distributed across the country.
We use lots of disposable materials in our production, and that's one of the advantages of this facility. This helps reduce the production costs and therefore reduce the cost of the products and make them competitive on the market.
BioCAD is part of the Pharma 2020 program, under which Russia plans to become completely self-sufficient in producing the latest pharmaceuticals in 6 years, making the most advanced treatments available and affordable to as many people as possible. The vast majority of information we take in from the outside world is through our eyes. So needless to say, partial or complete loss of eyesight can have a huge impact on daily life. And this is something a team from St. Petersburg are looking to change.
Brains over brawn.
Roman is a teacher at a social rehabilitation centre in St. Petersburg. He lost his sight completely 8 years ago and for the last 4 years has relied on specialist mobile navigation apps to find his way about town in addition to his white cane. But he may soon have another tool at his disposal. While mobile apps do reduce Roman's reliance on passers-by for directions and improve his independence, they don't give him a complete picture of his immediate environment, and that's what Orient hopes to change. The high-tech specs provide real-time feedback about obstacles that a cane or mobile app may not pick up on.
Konstantin, what do these clicks mean?
These clicks indicate obstacles and inform you where they are, whether it clicks to your right or to your left, louder or quieter.
To the left or to the right?
They also vary in terms of the height of an obstacle and distance to it. The quieter the sound, the further away it is. These sounds can help you quickly figure out where obstacles are.
Can I push this button?